Hello everyone, I'm Đức Trung with VTV International. This is the English Bulletin VTV News coming to you live from Hanoi. First up, let's get you up to date with the headlines for this hour. An update on the second working day of State President Trương Tấn Sang's visit to Japan. Our reporter has an exclusive interview with the Norwegian ambassador to Vietnam ahead of the Crown Prince visit. And later, Vietnamese education benefits from information and communication technologies. Party leader Nguyễn Phú Trọng on Monday held a working session with Thừa Thiên Huế authorities on the implementation of the party resolutions on socio-economic development and party building. On the same day, he visited Hồng Hạ commune, where the new rural development program was successfully implemented. In a meeting with local authorities, the party leader stressed the need to tap in local potential to develop Thừa Thiên Huế into a major city. To this end, he urged local authorities and people to exert great efforts, unite and mobilize all necessary resources for development. Moving on now to updates on the second working day of State President Trương Tấn Sang's visit to Japan. On Monday, President Trương Tấn Sang was welcomed by Emperor Akihito in Tokyo. On the same day, President Sang also had many important meetings with major Japanese businesses. More to follow.
The welcoming ceremony for the Vietnamese president was held at the Japanese Royal Palace. The Japanese royal family only received 2 international guests here every year. President Sang is the first guest this year, and this is also his first visit as Vietnamese president to Japan. After the ceremony, Emperor Akihito met with President Sang and the Vietnamese delegation. Also on Monday morning, the president received Kuniharu Nakamura, General Director of Sumitomo, and Masahiro Saki, Vice Chairman of the Japanese Economics Federation. He also participated in a policy discussion with the leaders of the most prominent Japanese corporations.
Vietnam is currently in need of big investments to develop our infrastructure. We are paying special attention to the private-public partnership model. Currently, we are restructuring our state-owned enterprises, so we are looking for capable partners in the privatizations of these enterprises. We look forward to further your country's cooperation with us in human resource training to support our industrialization.
The focus of President Sang's second day is economic cooperation. He received the chairman of the Japan External Trade Organization, or JETRO, Hiroyuki Ishige, and appeared at a forum of Vietnamese and Japanese enterprises. The Japanese side highly appreciated the attention President Sang had paid to Japanese SMEs in Vietnam.
President Sang is one of the most treasured friends of Japan. We are deeply thankful for your attention to improve the business environment for Japanese enterprises.
A recent JETRO survey shows that 70% of Japanese enterprises currently investing in Vietnam want to expand. President Sang hopes that the two countries' bilateral trade revenue will reach $50 billion before 2020. On Monday afternoon, Vietnamese president received and presented a Medal of Friendship to Takesaki Hironobu, Supreme Court Judge of Japan, and had a meeting with Hideki Omura, governor of Aichi Prefecture. Also in Tokyo, President Sang had a meeting with his Japanese friends, former standing chairman of the Democratic Party, Yoshito Sengoku, and former Senator Matsuda Iwao.
Moving on to other news, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng held talks on Monday with Karel de Gucht, EU Trade Commissioner, who is attending the 7th series of negotiations on the Vietnam-EU Free Trade Agreement from March the 17th to the 21st. At the talks, Prime Minister Dũng said that with effort and goodwill from both sides, the negotiation had achieved positive outcomes. He expressed his belief that both sides would continue to cooperate to finalize the agreement in October as planned. Mr. Dũng urged the EU to recognize Vietnam as a market economy. Carol de Gucht confirmed that the EU would continue to work with Vietnam to complete the FTA negotiations. The EU is Vietnam's second largest trade partner and Vietnam's biggest export market, with two-way trade turnover reaching $30 billion. Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng had a phone conversation with Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Tun Razak on Monday. In the phone conversation, the Malaysian Prime Minister thanked the Vietnamese government and people and Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng personally for the active support in searching for the Malaysia Airlines missing plane MH370. The Malaysian Prime Minister praised Vietnam's valuable support, which reflected the two countries' friendship. Prime Minister Dũng said that Vietnam would continue to work closely with Malaysia and relevant parties, as well as provide necessary documents to search for the missing plane. National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng is now in Geneva, Switzerland for the 130th General Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, or IPU. On Monday, he met with IPU President Abdelwahid Radi. Let's take a look.
At the talks with IPU President Abdelwahid Radi, National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng said that the IPU 132nd General Assembly's proposed theme of parliaments and realization of post-2015 sustainable development will offer a chance for parliaments to share their views and priorities concerning development after 2015. Radi held Vietnam's preparation for the 2015 IPU meeting and said that he believed the success of the event will help elevate the IPU's profile globally. The two leaders then witnessed the signing of a document between the Vietnam National Assembly and the IPU on the organization of the 132nd IPU General Assembly and related meetings in 2015.
Norwegian Crown Prince Haakon Magnus and Crown Princess Mette Marit are scheduled to visit Vietnam from March the 18th to the 21st at the invitation of Vice President Nguyễn Thị Doan. Ahead of this visit, our reporter had a chance to sit down with the Norwegian ambassador to Vietnam to ask about the trip's highlight as well as Norway's future cooperation with Vietnam. Let's take a listen.
Thank you very much for joining this interview with VTV4. Now, this visit of a Norwegian Crown Prince this time is accompanied by Norwegian Ministers of Industries and Trade. So what is expected to be achieved during this visit in terms of trade and investment?
There will be several seminars and symposia that will be organized both in Hanoi and in Ho Chi Minh City. In Hanoi with respect to hydropower and the maritime industry, and in Ho Chi Minh City with respect to seafood and aquaculture. In addition, in Ho Chi Minh City, there will be a roundtable focusing on our ongoing negotiations for a free trade agreement between the EFTA countries, Norway, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Iceland, where Norway is coordinating, and Vietnam. So those important gatherings and seminars will be very, very essential. We have targeted businessmen both in the north and in the south, and we hope to see some results.
How would you evaluate the effectiveness of Vietnam's ODA disbursement from Norway, and what is ODA commitments from Norway to Vietnam in the future?
I think the development assistance cooperation has been good between our countries. We're adjusting our programs now, moving from the more basic programs on health, education, and poverty alleviation. We're still going to do some of that, but we're now refocusing into areas such as technical assistance, capacity building, in areas like climate change, smart agriculture, in areas like disaster risk reduction, in areas like sustainable energy, renewables. We're looking at ways where we can assist Vietnam and build partnerships as Vietnam walks up the middle-income country status ladder, so to speak.
What do you see as the potential sectors for Norwegian businesses to invest in Vietnam, and why?
I think for the immediate future, one of the most exciting areas is energy, because energy is something that Vietnam needs a lot of, and we know that. We've seen the energy plans, and they're going to require much new energy sourcing. Obviously, coal is not the long-term answer, so we're looking to bring in more opportunities for hydropower development. And we have our large hydropower company, SN Power, ready to invest in Vietnam. And I think that will open up for quite a lot of investment in Vietnam. We have a company called Pharmac that has developed the first trafish vaccine. With these vaccines, you will move away from pollution and antibiotics and into a much cleaner, higher quality fish for export. In time, Pharmac and partners here in Vietnam, I think, can form a basis, a sort of hub for whole of Southeast Asia and Vietnam.
Well, thank you very much for joining this interview with VTV4.
In the latter half of our bulletin, Vietnam calls for more international support in cleaning up unexploded ordnances. And later, Vietnamese education benefits from information and communication technologies. Stay tuned, VTV News will be right back after a short break.
Vietnam's varied charms are boundless. They will awaken your senses to astonishing wonder. From sight to sound, from smell to taste, you will be touched in ways you've never thought possible. Vietnam is so charming, one visit is never enough.
Welcome back to VTV News live from Hanoi. The Vietnamese Ministry of Construction is currently working on a draft of a new housing law that could increase property ownership rights for foreigners and Vietnamese living abroad in particular. The draft is hoped to give a nudge to the current sluggish real estate market.
According to the bill, overseas Vietnamese will be able to buy, receive houses or gifts, or inherit property, and most importantly, receive land use right certificates.
I think the bill is a step forward for every house hunter, especially overseas Vietnamese like me. I think it will mitigate the risk we may face, as we can now register a house by ourselves instead of having relatives to do this.
According to GovUp Sunny Plaza Company, there is high demand among overseas Vietnamese, but current ownership rights for foreigners are some of the tightest in the region.
If the government and the National Assembly adopts a bill, the real estate market could become very competitive.
Some experts said the policy supporting the overseas Vietnamese to buy a house in Vietnam will help slash the inventories in the high-end housing market. Recent research on housing policies in Asia pointed out that by encouraging expatriates to buy a house, enterprises may raise the real estate price in a stable manner.
It is now almost 40 years after the war in Vietnam, and the country still carries the burden of the deadly legacy of unexploded ordnances. These ticking time bombs continue to take the lives of local people, and Vietnam is calling on international donors and organizations to increase their support for the country's efforts and assist victims of bombs and mines. More to follow.
More than 42,000 people have been killed and 60,000 others injured by unexploded ordnance in Vietnam to date. It is estimated the U.S. dropped nearly 16 million tons of ordnance in Vietnam during the war, with 800,000 tons of explosives remaining a threat for many people. The Vietnamese government has taken many measures to cope with UXO aftermath, but there is still much work to be done. For this reason, Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng appealed to international donors and friends to support the government's efforts to surmount UXO consequences at a conference held last Friday in Hanoi.
I hope to see the establishment of Mine Action Partnership Group in Vietnam to create a channel for exchanges and dialogue between the Vietnamese government and international organizations. This is aimed to ensure the assistance from the international donors is used in the most effective manner and help Vietnam to be finally cleared of unexploded ordnance.
The government spends 80 to 100 million US dollars on resolving UXO issues every year and has received support from domestic as well as international organizations. Besides long-term partners, new organizations are established every year in Vietnam to alleviate the burden of landmines.
We've just started here in Vietnam, now in 2014. And our two main objectives for this first phase in 2014 is to support the central provinces in two focus areas. We will support in capacity building in regards to survey and clearance of unexploded ordnance. We will also support Thu Thien Hue province implementing a database unit to manage clearance and UXO information.
Since 1990, nearly 40 non-governmental organizations have provided assistance to Vietnam to overcome the consequences of wartime bombs, but it only accounts for 5% of the total annual expenses on the landmine clearance in Vietnam. It may take a lot more to completely eliminate the threat, but in the meantime, experts have advised Vietnam to concentrate on educating the public to prevent UXO-related accidents.
We also have to realise that the point is to get Vietnam to be impact-free rather than clearance of 100%. You know, there are countries in Europe, such as the UK, Germany, Norway, who still have contamination problems, and they are dealt with as residual contamination problems, and it's about risk management.
It will take a long time, yes, to clean up every bomb and mine. But in the meantime, people can learn how to protect themselves, how to avoid accident and injury. And in the meantime, the bombs and the cluster munitions, other ordnance can be cleaned up, and people can live safely with the problem.
All too often, children play in rural areas fall victim to these unexploded munitions. In response, a landmine awareness campaign was introduced in several schools in the central provinces, the hardest hit area in Vietnam during the war. These children learn about grenades and rockets along with math and history, and it is an effective way for them to protect their well-being.
I learned many things about landmines. I know they are very dangerous. They can kill and injure people. If I see these landmines, I will stay away from them to be safe.
In 2012 and 2013, UXOs has been cleared on nearly 100,000 hectares of land in Vietnam, but the dangers of them still exist nationwide. And further cooperation and support is needed from other governments and international organizations worldwide to speed up the progress of UXO clearance. It has been 40 years since the war in Vietnam ended, but unexploded ordnance continues to kill and the list of victims continues to lengthen. It is estimated that 20% of Vietnam landmass is suspected of contamination, and at the current rate of detecting and diffusing, it may take Vietnam 300 years to completely eliminate the threat. Therefore, developing partnership and cooperation mechanism with international organizations and countries is crucial to accelerate the process of demining for a safer Vietnam. Hoàng Hằng reporting for VTV International.
Moving on now to other news, March the 17th marks the International Day to educate children about their rights and responsibilities and managing financial resources through social and financial education. The Central Province of Thu Thien Hue is the host of the event this year. 5 local secondary schools have been chosen to be pioneers of the program. The students here take part in different activities such as painting, debating, and pitching electricity-saving ideas. Through these activities, these students are expected to gain practical skills and become aware of their social responsibilities. In the future, these activities will be integrated into official secondary school curriculum. A survey of 10,000 teachers nationwide recently done by the Vietnam Institute of Educational Sciences showed that 90% of the teachers apply information and communication technologies, or ICT, into teaching. Most teachers and students who use ICT are within the 21 to 30-year-old age range. ICT seems to have had a positive effect on education in Vietnam.
This is a Google Glass. It is a miniature PC that can capture images, videos, and connect to the internet through 3G or Wi-Fi networks. Software engineers are integrating English-speaking practice software into this device for the students here to experience. Nghiêm Minh Hoàng had an experience to remember with Google Glass at a cafe where the cashier is a foreigner. Just a touch on the controls of the glass, and his and the cashier's image and sound was transmitted to his teacher. His teacher then instructed him with different sentences to use in this context.
It used to be hard for me to practice speaking English because I was always on my own at home with nobody to use English with. This glass has opened me new doors. Technologies are now integrated on a person's belongings. Google Glass is a pair of smart glasses, just like smartphones. Through the Google Glass, users can access the internet and use software.
ICT is the current trend in education. ICT has proved to be helpful in teaching English, geography, biology, amongst others.
The current trends are big databases, smart databases, processing. Good software now must have support for both conventional computing and mobile devices.
Statistics show an average Vietnamese accesses the internet 26.2 hours per month, which is only behind Thailand and much further ahead of other Southeast Asian countries, such as Singapore or Malaysia. This is a good foundation for ICT, a trend forecasted for the future by educational experts.
Next up, let's take a quick look at a few online articles about Vietnam.
Vietnam Online begins with news from Vietnam NetBridge. Norwegian Crown Prince Haakon Magnus and Crown Princess Mette Marit are scheduled to visit Vietnam from March 18th to 21st at the invitation of Vice President Nguyễn Thị Doan. The Norwegian guests will be accompanied by the Norwegian Minister of Industry and Trade, 2 other ministers, and also a large business delegation. The visit aims to further boost Vietnam-Norway trade and industry cooperation, in which shipbuilding, maritime transport, aquaculture, science and technology, consumer goods are considered key business areas of Norway in Vietnam. In the framework of the visit, a number of seminars will also be staged with a view to bolstering trade links between the two nations. To an article now on Press Enterprise. Proponents of a plan for a sister city relationship between Southern Californian city Riverside and the Mekong Delta region's Cần Thơ city of Vietnam will discuss the possibility on March 18th. A city report lists possible fruits of a Cần Thơ link for Riverside, such as influx of Vietnamese students at Riverside's universities, healthcare training, and exchange programs. Vietnamese investment in Riverside businesses, as well as cooperative research on climate change and citrus disease control. If the plan goes through, Cần Thơ City would be Riverside's 9th sister city after cities in Japan, Ghana, China, India, Germany, and the Republic of Korea. Vietnam's first luxury tour operator, Luxury Travel, has been nominated in the World Travel Awards as a leading tour operator. The 10-year company specializes in combining niche and experiential travel. According to PR.com, the World Travel Award serves to acknowledge
reward and celebrate excellence across all sectors of the global travel and tourism industry. Now in their 21st year of operation, the World Travel Awards have evolved to represent a global search for the very best travel and tourism brands.
Work on site at a malt processing facility in Vietnam, Western Australia's grain handler CBH Group's newest investment, began on Saturday. According to ABC Rural, the $75 million project run by Intermold will break ground and begin a 2-year construction process on what will be the only malting plant in Southeast Asia. The malting site, about 2 hours south of Ho Chi Minh City, is part of a $150 million investment, which will also include 3 new flour mills. The barley facility is expected to process 110 tons of barley each year. To an article on Bonama, the southern half of Ho Chi Minh City aims to attract $2.5 billion in foreign direct investment, or FDI, this year. According to the Municipal Department of Planning and Investment, the top priority would be given to foreign invested projects in high value-added industries such as engineering, electronics, information technology, and biological technologies. The article added that the prioritized sources of foreign investment would be the United States, Japan, Singapore, Republic of Korea, and Germany. The city also started the year 2014 with a significant amount of $217 million in FDI being registered in the past 2 months, which is 226% higher year on year.
It is now time for us to take a quick look at today's updates on the weather forecast. This is the end of our news bulletin for this hour. Thank you very much for being here with us. To rewatch any of our programs online, simply go to our website at vtv4.vn. For now, goodbye from Hanoi.